YouTube family, what's happening, guys? Dave Meadowar here. First of all, I want to start with an applause. I'm applauding you for being here and putting in the work and trying to figure out your mission in life, your purpose. You're dealing with anxiety, relationship trouble, physical ailments, trying to get a fitness plan going, whatever it might be. There is a reason you're here, and I just want to say I'm your biggest fan. And I'm here with you guys. I'm always an audience member of my own videos because I have to remind myself day in and day out that life can get hard sometimes and progress isn't linear. We're always striving to become better, and there will sometimes be setbacks. And that leads into today's topic. We're going to talk about the dangers of the self-help movement and why the hell it can actually be helpless sometimes. Now, you got to hear me out because this is not a popular opinion by any means. So before I get into the discussion, click on that like button if you like what you see here. And if you want to see more content from me, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Always appreciated. Love growing this channel. Love seeing you guys come here. And let's get started. So when is self-help helpless? In a nutshell, self-help itself is helpless if you're not taking action and you're finding yourself in a self-help loop. Now, what would that look like? Okay, so I'll give you an example. You might have friends or family or whoever on Facebook. You've seen them in this cycle where day in, day out, they're constantly posting the same things like, this is why I'm single. When I meet the right person, I'm going to be swept off my feet. They're going to do this, or some, weird posting about views on life or why things never work out or stuff about what they wish they would have or talking about the highlights of others they see in their lives and they wish that they could experience that. And this can actually be very damaging because the thing is that when it comes to self-help, it's something where just taking a minute or two, finding a feel-good message and throwing it out there, it's not doing you any good, all right? It may not be what you want to hear, but it's not doing you any good. But the question then is, if we want change, why do we keep repeating this and then we don't get the change we want and we go back to the drawing board and we're like, okay, I'm going to find the next feel-good message, the next feel-good message. Why? Okay, so let's think about that for a bit. Hell, you could even pause this video and step back and think of something and then unpause it when you've come up with a solution. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear it. My perspective on this, you may or may not agree with, is going to be along the lines of talking about it from a bird's eye view of the difference between our subconscious desires and our conscious desires. Conscious is something in terms of when we're awake, right? Like right now, if I want to have a burger and I say, oh, I want to go to whatever burger place and grab food, that's a conscious decision. I'm awake. I'm aware of my thoughts. I thought my thoughts. But when it comes to subconscious, it runs a little bit deeper. And more often than not, we're not really in tune with our subconscious desires or, more importantly, understanding why we desire what we do subconsciously. So something that could be happening is psychosomatically, like my body, what's going on is maybe there's an iron deficiency. So something beneath is telling me, it's not that you just want a burger, but a burger is a good source of iron. So that's why in particular I'm craving that food. That's why when I look at cravings after the gym, for example, like chips, guac, it's never just the food, or we oftentimes will ask ourselves, why are we craving, quote, junk food? When really it has something that's a proponent of a mineral that, for instance, we're lacking because we just sweat our asses off in the gym, and now we need some magnesium, potassium, etc. A little bit of a tangent there, but it relates back to this topic at hand because it's, again, correlation between consciously what we want and subconsciously what's going on deeper beneath us. And so a conscious decision may be something along the lines of, oh, I know I should change. I know I should go to the gym. I'm going to find this really cool motivational video. I'm going to watch this podcast. I'm going to share it with my friends. Hell, it might be a 28-minute podcast and I watch the first 37 seconds and I'm going to post it up there. Hell, I may have not even watched the podcast at all because I'm, quote, too busy. And then I ask myself time in and time out why I don't get the changes I want in life. And this isn't a video about how you have to watch podcasts to get the change you want. That's just a blanket example. It's a deeper thing I'm talking about here where when it comes to self-help, If we treat it as just another thing to multitask, or more importantly, if we do it within the vicinity of our comfort zone, we are not going to get change at all. Let me repeat that. If we take the avenue of handling self-help in terms of doing what's comfortable, we will not get change. So there's this notion of what's called shadow work. When we dig deep into our soul and we're working on those traumatic events, we're working on our insecurities, we're working on our attachment style, whatever it might be, it's messy. Shadow work is really just pulling out this dark shadow within you that you have not faced in maybe years or even your lifetime. And when you start pulling that shit out, it gets ugly, it gets messy. So you might infer from that then why we go the comfort route, because actually doing the work for self-help is messy. And if you see my other videos, we talk about how the subconscious has a protection mechanism where it serves to protect us from physical harm, emotional harm, etc. And that's why we tend to have habits in life, because habits mean comfortability. Comfortability feels familiar. And in terms of our subconscious and the way we're wired, what is familiar keeps you safe. Because as we grew and we took on these beliefs in life, we have a worldview of how we view others in the world, how we relate to the men and women out there, family, friends. We got an idea of how the world and ourselves connect based on familial interactions with our family, with our past lovers, with our past employers, friends. And so what happens is we tend to have a typical way of operating day in, day out. And you can try this exercise too. You can write down a list of what your daily habits are. Is it that routine of scrolling 5 minutes each morning on Instagram before you brush your teeth? Is it a routine of having to go to the gym? Habits themselves aren't necessarily good or bad in themselves. But when it comes to self-help, sometimes our habits can be the things where we say we're doing it because we want that change, but they're actually getting in our way, right? So then how do we make self-help more effective? Well, we got to actually start doing that difficult work. We got to start looking within. We got to start journaling. I recently posted a video about journaling. Maybe it's something where therapy needs to be involved. Maybe it's something where we need to meditate. And while we're meditating, it's not just about putting on some music, relaxing, and just feeling good, right? This whole notion of it has to just be euphoric. That's a step in the direction of getting comfortable. But again, we're trying to get past just simply feeling comfortable. When you're meditating, when you take that pen and paper, when you're journaling, are you starting to actually do the work to dig into some deep shit that you haven't dealt with your whole life? That's when you can really start uncovering some nasty junk that's been just sitting on your soul. And you've been carrying it wherever you go and bleeding on people who haven't hurt you. It's keeping you frustrated. It's keeping you hurt. It's keeping you anxious, right? So when it comes to self-help, we got to look at it in terms of not just our ears being tickled and just hearing what we want to hear, but looking at it in terms of what action do I actually need to take. See, going on Facebook and just posting a feel-good message and having your friends see that really isn't action. That's not moving in the direction of healing. That's not moving in the direction of connecting with yourself. But picking up a pen and paper, going somewhere quiet, writing about a traumatic experience you had a year ago, writing down your thoughts, the feelings that stem from your thoughts and the action you took as a result, your triggers, looking at how do you cope with stuff that reminds you of that trauma. And this is something where it may be too difficult to do on your own. If you've got a couple friends that you can trust, loop them in, have them be your accountability partners. If you need to talk to a professional, that's okay too. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So these are just some things to think about with self-help, is that it can't just magically fix things for you. But we tend to do this because digging deep is uncomfortable and it actually challenges the subconscious. Because now you've gone from, I have this familiar way of operating in these habits, to I want to change my habits and bring new positive change in my life. But to be frank, the subconscious doesn't give a fuck. It's like, oh shit, you want to change something in my program? I don't care if it's for the better or worse. All I know is an interruption. I want to protect you. I want to distract you. Don't dig deep. Don't journal. Keep posting those messages. Keep sitting idle waiting that, your Prince Charming is going to magically break into your house and show up. instead of becoming the person you want to attract, things like that. And this is where we have to connect with our subconscious and really put in that deep work into ourselves, right? So I hope that this video is helpful for you guys. Be on the lookout for more. I'm looking at posting every 2-3 days or so-ish, but at the very least twice a week. That's kind of my average right now, and I'll talk to you later. Peace!